Hello, my name is Amy from Evolve Fitness. We have locations in person in Halifax, Dartmouth, Bedford, and Elmsdale, Nova Scotia, or you can join us from anywhere in the world via our virtual program or right here on YouTube. Today is going to be a short video. I am going to spend a few minutes taking you through my favorite hip opener stretches. So we're going to go ahead and get started, but before we do that, I would absolutely encourage you at any point to pause the video. I'm going to be spending anywhere from 40 seconds to a minute in each stretch. If you feel like you need to spend a longer amount of time, you can hit pause and then pick it back up again when you're ready. Or you can also just look in the caption of this video. We have all of the stretches listed there, and you can also just go through it at your own pace. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to start with a low squat hold. So all we're going to do is start feet like a little bit outside the shoulders. I like to go a little bit wider than my normal squat stance when I'm doing this stretch, but you find the position that feels good to you. We're going to come down to the bottom of a squat. We're just going to relax, resting our arms on our elbows, and just kind of like rock around down there. You can stay tight in one spot. Take some nice slow deep breaths here, and hopefully every time you breathe out, you can sink just a tiny little bit deeper into that stretch. We're just going to hang out here for a few seconds. This is just a very quick starter just to get the hips opened up a little bit. All right, so next up, we're going to come into, we call this a frog rock back, very similar to a child's pose, but we're going to try and set up with our knees out nice and wide, or as wide as we're comfortably going. So first I'm going to show you this straight on. And so what you're going to do is come into this position on your knees. Feet are just behind me here. And then we're going to come down onto our hands. And then I want you to try and push your knees out as wide as you comfortably can. And then what we're going to do is just keep our hands on the floor and just push ourselves back into our hips as deep as we can. And you may want to hang out here for a little while. You may want to push yourself in and out of it. You can also play around with your exact foot position, with your exact hand position. And so from this side, it's going to look like this. Again, knees just out as wide as you are comfortable going. And then again, you can be braced up on your toes here. You can be relaxed down, whatever's comfortable for you. You just want to push yourself back as far as you can. Thinking about pushing your hands into the floor. That'll help get you some tension against those hips. You can rock in and out of it. Try to take some nice slow deep breaths. As you breathe out, maybe you can sink a little bit deeper into it. You can also kind of come down and relax, hang out here. You can rock your torso back and forth. Again, this stretching is about finding the positions that feel good to you. All right, so next stretch is called a pigeon pose. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start on our hands and knees. We're going to pull one foot through to the front and try to cross that foot down in front of us. Now, your position may not be exactly the same here. You might be a little bit back more. You might be a little bit up more. You find the spot that feels good to you. What we want to do is try to keep our foot flexed. We don't want to point the toes. Keeping our foot flexed in this position is a little bit safer for our knee. We're going to plant the hands, and then what we're going to do is try to stretch, just gently walk that back foot back a little bit, and just kind of sit down into that as deep as we comfortably can. Again, taking some nice deep breaths, and hopefully every time you breathe out, you can sink a little bit deeper into it. And again, I encourage you to play with your exact position here. You can rock around a little bit. You can come down onto your elbows if that is comfortable to you. Play around with exactly where this foot is. It may be back here a little more. You may be able to pull it up a little more. You decide what feels good here. You should feel the stretch all down the side of the hip of that leg that is up underneath you. All right, let's go ahead and switch legs. Again, feel free to pause at any time if you feel like you want to spend more time in one of these spots. So we're going to pull that other leg up to the front, and then we're going to slowly inch that back foot, back leg back as deep as we can. And then we're just going to kind of try to sit into that front leg. Again, feeling the stretch all through here. Nice deep breaths. All right, we're going to move on now. The last stretch that I am going to go through with you is called a half kneeling hip flexor stretch. So our hip flexors run kind of deep inside our body from just above our hips to just below our hips. They kind of run all through here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to come onto one knee and one foot. We want to have that ankle kind of almost directly under the knee to start. And then what we're going to do is this knee, this glute of the knee that's on the floor, we're going to engage that glute a little bit, and then we're going to gently push that hip forward. It does not take much, but you should start to feel a stretch all down the front of that hip. And then we're just going to hang out there. Again, you can push in and out of this a few times. You can hang out at the top a little bit. Just important to keep that glute engaged and then push the hip forward and try to keep yourself square. Keep your hips and your torso square forward. If you would like to get more of a stretch out of this, you can also take this arm and reach up overhead. That'll intensify that stretch down the front of the hip a little bit. We'll hang out here for a couple more seconds. All right, and then we are going to switch legs and do the exact same thing. So we're just switching the knees. And again, engaging the glute of that knee that's on the floor. You may want to hang on if you feel like you need to hang on to something for support. That's perfectly okay. It's not going to take away from the stretch at all. So we're going to engage that glute and just push that hip forward a little bit till we feel that stretch. Again, sinking in and out of it if you would like, or you can just hang out forward. And if you want to intensify that stretch, we're going to reach that arm way up overhead. Can also think about leaning your shoulders back slightly. That will also intensify your stretch here. Keeping that glute engaged. And nice deep breaths here. All right, that is the stretches that I have for you today. Hope that you found those helpful, and again, encourage you to play around with your exact position, with your timing. And feel free to pause this video at any point or just go through it at your own pace. I will see you again soon.